Good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. Let me just get everything up and running here. Here we go. There we go. Flip that over there. Yes. How's everyone doing? Good morning. I'm just going to get the chat up on the phone now. Here we go. Somewhere in here. How's everyone doing, by the way? Hope you're doing well. Nice and cold here this morning. It was very, very cool here this morning. In fact, still got the fire burning. Let me find this live video in here so I can have the chat on. A little bit clunky, isn't it, this setup? But there you go. YouTube's asking me, do I want something? No, I don't want that. I want to go to my channel. Hey, Aussie Paul, good morning. Here we go. Let's get it up. Putting vegetables in the flux capacitor. Oh, getting an ad. It's good. Alrighty, good stuff. Who's finding it nice and cool where they are? Skip ad, come on. And where's my chat gone? Where's the chat gone? There it is. Come on, where's the chat? Live chat. Okay, that didn't work. Where's the live chat? That's weird. I can't find the live chat. Oh, there it is. There we go. Wow. I think they keep changing things on me, making it more awkward. Now, the internet's not great again this morning. I don't know what's going on in this area. But the good thing is the coffee's hot. How's that? Love a good cuppa. Love a good cuppa on a cold morning. So, who's having a cold morning this morning? G'day, Dave. How you going, buddy? Did you get out for your morning walk up there, even though it's cold, hopefully? Good day, Rick. Good day, Aussie Paul. Aussie Paul, would be cold out there in the outback, would it? Winter in the desert. Blowing a gale today. Red dirt everywhere. Oh, really? Yeah, it's been pretty windy. Been pretty windy here in Sydney too. Alrighty. Good stuff. Good to see that some of you managed to get on for this new time slot. I'm hoping this time slot means that more people can get on to the live show. That's what I'm hoping. Because I know when we were, the old time slot put the show on at a time that didn't suit those that were in different time zones. Oh, hang on, the dog's here. I've got to let Banjo in. Come on, buddy. I'll go get him. Hang on. Hey, buddy. All right. He wants to join the show. Say hello, Banjo. He's not impressed. Here you go, buddy. There we go. Your weight loss is coming along. Thank you. Yes, I'm pretty slim these days. Feeling pretty good about it too. So the other thing that's improved out of sight, Chris, is the fitness. So I'm really looking forward to getting back out and doing some photography. I haven't done any photography for about, I don't know, haven't been out anywhere for a few months. So it's time to get out there and do some hiking. But yeah, I'm down to 83 kilos. So I was 110 kilos and I'm down to 83 kilos. And I've done that since February 4 I started. So it's at 5 months. Bit of my breakfast still in there. You don't need to know that, do you? So 5 months I've been on that journey, and I've lost 27 kilos. So I used to think that my camera bag was heavy, and I'd have maybe 13, 14 kilos, including the tripod, maybe 15 kilos. But I've lost nearly double that. So there you go. So when I wear that backpack, I'll have to think about that. There you go. But loving it. Still getting coached and actually coaching myself now. So I'm coaching other people through the program, which is pretty rewarding. I got a mate of mine who's lost 11 kilos in 4 weeks, which was pretty huge. So thank you very much for noticing. All right, let's get stuck straight into it. Let's have a look at what we've got here. So we did an editing challenge, which I didn't do the previous fortnight. But thank you to Brian for reminding me. I don't know, sometimes I get a bit busy and I don't jump straight onto these things. I know where Brian is this morning, but I'm sure we'll see him soon. Photographia. I can never say this. Australis. Greg. Photographia. Photographia. Something like the mafia. Photographia. We'll go with that. Australis. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Rick. Yeah, feels good, buddy. Feels real good. All right, so we did an editing challenge. I think what we'll do, first of all, thanks to you guys that support the channel, the Patreons. I really do appreciate it. It's so good. And as I keep saying every week, I've been really slack on the photography front, but I am, funnily enough, I put my D850 batteries on charge this morning so I can start getting myself sorted to get out there and do another shoot. I've decided I'm going to sell all my Fuji lenses. So, because I sold my XT1 and I didn't replace it whilst I was waiting to decide what to do. I've still got my XE1, so I'm going to keep my XE1 and my little Pancake 18mm f2 lens because I love that as a little walk around sort of travel camera, I think. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the Sony A7R III. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. And give that a whirl, and then see if I make the shift completely to Sony or not. But that's what I'm thinking. So, does anyone here shoot Sony? Be interested to see. That's what I'm thinking about. Thinking about going Sony. Either that or the Nikon Z, which could be a smarter move because then I can just get the adapter for the lenses, the Z7. Maybe I should do that. But I'm a bit undecided. And that's because I haven't done much lately, so I've got to get back into it. All right, let's jump straight into this. Let's start with the editing challenge. So I uploaded a photo that I took of the Remarkables back in Queenstown in New Zealand, back maybe when I had the D800, I think it was. So some time ago. Have I got milk on my lip? No. I'm just going to share the screen. Let's do that now. So this was the image that I shot. Now, to be completely open and honest, I took 5 exposures and I processed this as a HDR when I did it. And that was back where I was right into my HDR, and it worked great for HDR. But this was the middle exposure out of my 5 bracketed shots. So this was the correctly exposed frame. So this is the one that I decided to upload for the challenge to see how everybody went with it. So let's flip through and see who did what. Let's have a look. Wow, my internet is struggling. Here we go. So Greg West, great job. Wow, I mean, look at those. So this is when I go to myself, why did I bother shooting HDR? I mean, have a look at that. Why would, like, these cameras are capturing so much of the detail. And this was before the D850. So like I said, I'm pretty sure this was the D800. Might have been the 810, but I doubt it. I think it was the 800. And I can have a look at the EXIF data later. But beautiful edit. Love it, mate. Good job. Sort of pan it a bit. It's a bit of a tweak in Capture One to balance the exposure. Edit in Photoshop using Luminar A1 Image Enhancer. AI. Luminar AI Image Enhancer. I haven't used that before. Looks pretty cool. Selectively applied with the mask. Luminar Soft and Airy applied to sky. Pretty poorly cloned. What did you clone? What did you clone? The sky? Let's go back and have a look. What did he do? Sky looks... No, it wasn't sky. What did he clone? Not sure what you cloned there, Greg, but... So you've done a good job. What did you clone? I'm just trying to work it out. Anyone spot it? Some stuff in the sky, maybe. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. Anyway... you wrote it here. If I just read on. Some buildings on the left. Down here. Yeah, okay. Now I can see it. Down here. That's all right, mate. It's still hard to spot. If you didn't tell me, I wouldn't have even noticed, and I took the photo. So there you go. Levels adjustment of bright and darks. Photo filter slightly warm it up. Luminar sky adjustment master sky. Nick color effort. God, he's gone to town on it. Color dodge highlights, slight tweak of contrast. Good job, mate. I think it looks great. Nice edit. Nice edit. All right, let's look at the next one. Matt's, he's gone for a portrait. I think I've been influenced by Brian. I cropped to do a vertical pano sort of instead. Really love these stones. Wanted to highlight them. Yeah, you've turned them into a nice sort of leading line. I do like that composition. Looks good. Some filter over the sky, a bit warmer colour on the grass, and some dodging and burning over the stones. Yeah, looks good, mate. Good edit. I like it, Matt. Well done. And Amanda Keys did something the same. So Amanda has cropped it in the same way. Use the adjustment brush, up the light, exposure, contrast, texture, clarity, and vibrance. Minor vignette and a little spot removal. See if you can pick it. Good challenge. Minor spot removal. Can I pick it? No. Can't pick it. All right. Oh, yeah. Tim Trim, man after my heart. Doesn't that look awesome? A nice long pano. Wasn't keen on the boulders. Base edit and capture 1. Levels, exposure, white balance, clarity and structure. Affinity to try and heal bottom right. Can see it there. I'm not good at this, as you can see. Never do it. And some sharpening contrast adjustments. So good attempt there, mate. But yeah, very obvious that that's been healed down the bottom right there. And with Photoshop, you could definitely do that pretty easily. So, but I love that long pano. I think that's a beauty. I like it. Steve Algie. Oh, this is nice. Definitely a spectacular view. Started in camera raw for local adjustments. Photoshop for perspective, cross and clean up. Luminar for light. How good's that light? I am impressed with that light. Luminar. I'm going to have to get Luminar, I think. Nik Color Effects for color and contrast. Nik Define Camera Raw Sharpening. Open in Photoshop as a layer and brush sharpening. I love that light. That is nice. That is nice. That really brings that morning feel to it. Beautiful. Brian did some basic adjustments for the darkening grade on the top with the lighter grade on the bottom plus a small crop. Beautiful. Good balance. Nicely balanced out. Cropped it more like a medium format shape. Yeah. So some good shots there. Some good editing. So the editing challenge is a good thing, isn't it? Like, it's really getting people to try different things. So well done, everyone. I really like what you guys have done. I think you did a great job. Great job. All right. So now that I'll have to find another one for you guys. What did you think of that one? Did you like that image? What's going on in the comments here? Not Sony, sacrilege. Why? You know what? I was when I was in Tassie and I got to play around with Nick's. I don't know if Nick's around today. Nick gets on sometimes. I got to play around with Nick's Sony and I was just really impressed. And I was also really impressed with the image quality that he was getting with the lenses that he was using. And I used to hate Sony. So when Sony first came out, I had to play around with the mates and the menus were terrible. Like with a capital T, terrible. And they're still very menu driven. However, what they've changed now is you can program everything on the camera, all the buttons to your liking. So in the very first release, it wasn't that flexible, and that sort of bugs me. But I'm thinking about it. The mirrorless cameras are amazing. I mean, the one that I use for vlogging, which is this little Canon. I mean, look at the size of it. Now, this is a crop sensor, but I would shoot all day on this. This is a great little camera. And these little mirrorless cameras are smashing it out of the park these days. Absolutely smashing it out of the park. So I love the mirrorless. And I toyed with the idea of going to the Fuji GFX 50R. But to be honest, I'm a bit worried about weight. I'm just going to... Something going on here. What's going on here? Where's my other one? I'm a bit worried about weight. And I want to get something that I can travel with really comfortably. That's my aim. So I'm looking for something that is a bit lighter. Now the Z7, what does the Z7 weigh? Let's have a quick look. Okay, we can Google this together. I'm going to bring it up on the screen. Let's have a quick look and see, what does the Z7 weigh? Let's see, does anybody know? Have a guess. Let's put it in here. Nikon Z7 specs. Now my only hesitation with the Z7 is I've still got to buy a whole bunch of new lenses. There we go. Kem Rockwell, he always has weights. Let's have a look and see what he says. He says everything's good just because he wants you to buy it and click his links. Let's have a look. I've had the Z7 in my hands too. Beautiful camera. Feels good. Alright, come on. Load. My internet is not good today. Come on. Specifications. Where's the weight? He always has this stuff. He always has everything. It's got to be here somewhere. Bluetooth, GPS, storage, power, battery, crikey. So it takes the same battery that I've already got, does it? Yeah, it does. So it's good. That would be a plus because I've already got those batteries. Here we go. Weight, 667 grams. So that's pretty good. So let's have a look at the Sony A7R3 specs. Let's see what he says about that one. Where is he? Has he done this one? He would have. He does them all. There he is. This one's still loading. Yeah, so that's interesting. 667. So that's not that much lighter than the D850, to be honest with you. Come on, so my internet's just going so slow. Hopefully you can still see the feed. Let's have a look. We'll go straight down the bottom where his specs normally are, down here somewhere. ISO. Let's have a look. Weight. 658. That's pretty similar, isn't it? So maybe a Z7. How much is a Nikon Z7? $4,000. 4,300. I don't want specs. I want price. That's what I want. Let's have a look. Here we go. $4,000, 4,300. I don't know where this is like Aussie stock, obviously. $4,000. The A7R3 is getting late in its life cycle. Yeah, the A7 IV. You can adapt your Nikon lenses either way. That's good, Peter. You're right. I don't actually want to adapt lenses though. I'd rather you get the smaller lenses. That would be my thinking. Let's put the Sony A7R3. Let's see what they've got for this one. Shopping. Yeah. Price is a lot less, is it? Yeah. Cheaper. Some things to think about. The challenges. The good thing about about Nikon is that I'm just so used to it. But the lenses that I was looking at, was it Laowa lenses? Let's have a look. The Laowa lenses, where's their site? Has anybody looked at those lenses? Laowa? L-A... Is it L-A-O-W-A? Venus Optics. Is that it? Laowa Lenses Australia. Here we go. These lenses are really good lenses. And what I like is the Sony ones. Let's view the collection. Have you guys seen these? Let me just switch back over to my screen. And I've got no affiliation with any of these, by the way. But I'm pretty sure that there's some lenses that have a digital readout on them. Is it these ones? I think it is. I don't know if that's... Is it Laowa? Maybe I'm looking at the wrong... No, it's not them. It's Zeiss. It's Zeiss. That's right. Zeiss. These ones. Yeah, the macro. I want to get the new macro, which is 2:1. 1:2, rather. Zeiss. Here it is. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Zeiss. Let's have a look. So these guys make some pretty cool lenses. And this is what I was thinking. Yeah, whatever. Agree and proceed. Where's lenses? Come on. Don't make it so hard for me just to look at stuff. The company, the creator. No, I just want to look at lenses. Okay, no. Yes, lens. Let's have a look. Zeiss camera lenses. Here we go. This time. So what I've done in most of my photography is I've stuck with the lenses that come with, it's these Bardis lenses, the lenses that natively fit. But these ones here have this digital readout on top. Now you're wondering, why is that so cool? But at night, see this here? This OLED display. At night, so if you're shooting astro, this lights up. How cool is that? That sort of excited me. That excited me. And these lenses were so sharp. So sharp. But looks like, so the 18 is the widest in that. That would be disappointing. Full frame for Sony E-mount, Sony E-mount, Sony E-mount. Nikon F-mount. So these are the other ones that we're looking at, the Otis. Yeah, pretty cool lenses. So that's sort of, where my head was going. All right, who else? There's a few other people joined. Who we got here? Hey, Matt, how you going? You're in Sydney, mate. I was going to try and catch up with you, and then I saw that your daughter's got you a bit busy, mate. Yeah. Lowers, yeah. Spanner, how you going, buddy? Good to see you here. Beverly Hills Cop. Check the massive cameras plus lenses. I recall there not being a massive difference. Yeah. Yeah, I need to have a look. Lots of good tips there anyway, guys, as we go through this, deciding what's next. Hope you're enjoying Sydney, Matt. Sorry about the wind, mate. It's been pretty windy, hasn't it? Been very windy. Very windy. So, yeah, so we've got some... Yeah, a nice challenge. Astro, yes. And now's the time to do it. Clear skies. G'day, Amanda. You forgot your YouTube password. That's never good. That's never good at all. All right, let's go through to the VIP challenge. Let me stop mucking around. Although that's what this is all about, isn't it? It's just about having a good old fun morning. Cheers to Pixel Chatter. Here we go. Yeah, cheers to Pixel Chatter. So a hot tip for you, by the way. If you do want to lose some weight, one of the places carbs comes from, and fat, is milk. So a lot of people get low-fat milk or skim milk, but it doesn't get rid of the carbs, and your body will use the carbs for energy. So I've switched out to almond milk, which was recommended by my health coach, my weight loss coach. And it's actually really good. So there's a hot tip for you. All right. Let's jump into this. Photos. And then we'll go to albums. And we'll go to Minimalist Landscape. Now, this was picked by Anthony Younghusband, who won the previous challenge. Share the screen. It's just taking a bit to load. My internet's a bit slow today, so hopefully the streaming is all right. So this challenge was picked by Anthony Younghusband. He'd won the previous challenge. And he picked Minimalist Landscape. And everyone was pretty excited by that. And I've seen some pretty cool photos pop up here. So let's have a look. Let's see what we ended up with. All right, this one's from Amanda Keys. Bringing in the sheaves. The sheaves. Cropper Creek, New South Wales. Beautiful. Love it. Very nice. It's quite a unique perspective, isn't it? Amanda Keys, like ducks on a pond. Boganga, New South Wales. Nice. Stephen Cast. Went out to photograph the full moon, happened to look the other way, never did get a good shot of the moon. I can see why. That's beautiful. I love the water. Have you processed that? Or is that just a longer exposure? That looks great. It's almost abstract down here on the water. That is very nice. Very nice. Here's one from Matt's. It's not a late contribution to the jetty challenge, but I guess the jetty is a hero here. The old jetty with flower growing into it. It's a lake nearby. It's about as simple as it gets. Nature at its best. Beautiful. Nice shot, Matt's. Another one from Matt. One misty morning, all quiet except the sound of one lonesome mare paddling in a large lake doing his morning training. Yeah, nice. Look how flat that lake is. That's the only sort of water I could paddleboard in. Yeah, lovely. Next one, Therese Elsie, moment of stillness. Beautiful. This is the thing I always look for in still water is reflections. Have a look at that. That is just perfect. Perfect. My only tip with something like this is, get down lower and that boat would come up, but sometimes you can't get down lower. But that is beautiful. Or if you can shoot higher, then you get the reflections and everything would be on the water. Imagine that. Need a drone. Beautiful shot. Love it. Love these reflections. See these masts here. Look at it. So nice. All right, Tim Trim took a minimalist to the extreme today with shooting handheld, one lens, the Zeiss 50mm 1.4, manual focus. Not ideal for this subject, but please how it came out. That is very cool. That is very cool. So that is a bee, a silhouette of a bee. That is very cool. Amanda Keys, during a trip to Yucca, Victoria last year, Uchuca. I don't know. I've heard this place. Uchuca. I think that's right. Lone tree in the middle of drought. Yeah, I always look for these lone trees or windmills when I'm out travelling around. Stephen Cast. One I took just before I returned to NZ after a decade in Oz. Nice. Once again, finding the reflections and shooting those. Stephen Cast, a photographer in its native habitat, not a selfie. Beautiful. Nice and simple. Lots of good entries here. Steve Algie, minimal. Nobby's Beach, Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. A winter sunrise. That is beautiful. That is nice. Very nice. Hey, congratulations. I'm pretty sure I saw you won Photographer of the Year somewhere, Steve. I saw something somewhere online and I saw your name. So well done and congratulations, buddy. That's Spanner, by the way. Spanner is Steve. If you're wondering, he is in the chat box. He's Photographer of the Year for something. Maybe you can let us know in the chat. That is a beautiful shot, mate. Another one from Steve Algie. Minimal. Amity Tree, Rosebrook, Maitland. Foggy winter's morning. Nice. Nice use of the conditions. And again, another one of a tree. Steve Algie. Minimal. Salamander Tree, Nelson Bay. My most recent image taken at my favourite tree. Beautiful. Once again, nice foggy morning. It's a great tree, isn't it? I need to get back there at high tide. I'll be back up there in January. I'll see if the tides are in my favour. Tim Trim. A minimal part of this landscape. This ant has a healthy meal and a fallen tree to traverse. That is a cracking shot, mate. That is a cracker. Nice sharp on the face. I wonder what that is. What's he eating? Cracking shot. Tim Trim. Fungus. Carenda State Forest. Taken under natural light using a small reflector to illuminate the gills. I like it a lot. That is how you shoot a fungi, my friends, from underneath. Beautiful shot, buddy. Nicely done. And there we go, back to the beginning. That's that same tree with the tied out that Steve Algie took. Alrighty, so we go through them quickly again, and I'll find the runner-up. The honourable mention the boss has chosen is this one here. Congratulations, Tim. You get honourable mention. However, the winner, there can only be one winner. The winner of this is... Do you like my music? Thinking music. The winner of this is... Steve Algie. Well done, Spanner. You get to choose the next challenge, mate. So if you can private message me the next theme, then that's you'll be picking the next challenge. But what a beautiful image, mate. Well done. And your image will end up as the cover photo for the VIP group as well. Excellent photo. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Nice job. All right. There we go. Nice job, mate. Well done. Well done to everybody for entering that. It was a lot of entries, which was good. Okay, get rid of that. Nice job. All right, what do we got in the chat box? If you don't need a 47 megapixel, the newer 24 megapixel A7 III is their best seller due to cost and features. Yeah, I like having lots of megapixels. I've got so used to having it that I don't think I want to go backwards. Love it here. A bit cold last night. It was, wasn't it, Matt? It was a bit cold. It was very cold. Unfortunately, you've got here right when a cold front came through. Winter doesn't get this cold very often. Only today, slow most of the time here. How do you milk an almond, says Brian? With great difficulty. You have to chase them around first. Same as milking a coconut. Actually, they're easy to milk, aren't they? You just drill a hole in them. With great difficulty. How's that? Welcome to OzMats. Yes. Australian Photography magazine just showcasing some of their favourite images entered in the comp. Oh, okay. You didn't win it. They were just showcasing yours. I see. So you entered a Photographer of the Year competition they ran. Hard choice or great, yes. That's why I leave it up to the boss, so I don't have to go through that process. Mike Healy, I live in the middle of dairy country. Drinking almond milk would be sacrilege. Yes, well, I had to do it for my health. Very nice, yes. Simple. Congratulations, Spanner. Yeah, great job all. Well done, everyone. Thanks heaps, guys. Good, good, good. Global freezing. Yes. Is that what's going on rather than global warming, you think? Who knows? All right. So, just a reminder, I'm about to critique some images. Just a reminder, if you do have some images you want critiqued, it's in the description, which could be down there. Could be up. Actually, it should be down there. I don't know where it is. I think it's down there. In the description is the email address where you send through the... Send through your images. Make sure they're at least 3,000 pixels on the longest edge and leave all the EXIF information if you can. And if you can, give me a bit of shooting information as well so I know how you went about shooting the image because that helps me with my critiquing. Hey, g'day Izzy. Good to see you here, buddy. All right. Okay, let's jump into Lightroom and start doing some critiquing. So I've got 2 images sent in this week. Let me flip back over to my screen. And yeah, I've started the... Has anybody got the Z7? I don't know if anybody here's got the Z7. Yeah, that could be the next one. I don't know. I always and ah about these things. You know what? I'm a bit over this big filter kit. That's what I'm a bit over. Has anyone got any other ideas besides this bloody big thing? What other wide-angle lenses are there that have a normal thread on them that I could put a normal filter kit on? That's the question of the day. Cool pics. I'm late dealing with a hurricane. Really? Where's there a hurricane? Lee Quimby. Where's the Lee from? I'm trying to remember where you're from, Lee. Where's the hurricane? Where's the hurricane? Is there a hurricane somewhere? Stay safe, buddy. That's no good. Stay safe. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So here's the two images for this week. So I've got one shot in here from Greg West, which is the one on the left, and Rob Roy on the right. Now, Rob has sent this in before, and he said here, I've sent this image in before, but took my advice from the last time and did this with a wide angle, and I think it worked out beautiful. So we're going to come back to that in a second. We're going to start off with this one here. This one here is from Greg West, and I haven't got much information. The EXIF information is not there. All I've got is that it was from Gloucester Tops Arctic Beach Waterfall. But I thought I would put it in anyway because it was such a nice shot. Let's go lights out and you can have a look at what I'm talking about. Don't you think that's a nice shot? I think it is. It's a beauty. But I don't have any EXIF information, so it's a bit of a guessing game. However, obviously, it's a longer exposure, and we know that because we're getting the water movement. If we have a look up here, we're getting a little bit of movement in this foliage here. And I thought I'll just talk about the technique to get, and I think I've talked about this before, but just to get this so it's sharp. And the technique is that you take a couple of shots. And we'll come back to this shortly. Besides that, it looks all good. From a technical point of view, I can't really say much, but it seems to be pretty sharp in the foreground, pretty sharp in the, I don't want to go to 8:1, I'm going to go to 4:1. Even that's a bit under resolution. I'm just trying to adjust my zoom to give me the best resolution to me so I can see what is and isn't in focus. So you can see that's really sharp here down the foreground, and you can see that the background is pretty sharp as well. Maybe not as sharp as it could be, but I'm going to guess it was shot, in the f11 sort of area, f13. And it's perfect, right? So depth of field's good. But when you shoot these things, what I find, and it's a bit of a trap, because I've been caught in this trap. There's two things that happen when we shoot waterfalls. One is these white areas blow out really quickly. Now here it hasn't, so your exposure is good. But anywhere where the water does this, in fact, it may have lost a little of the detail just here, but it's nothing too crazy. You've got to really watch for that, right? So you've got to underexpose when you shoot. And so expose for the water. Don't worry about if everything else is a bit dark. And if you lose a bit in the shadows, like in here, for example, or under this rock here, it doesn't matter, right? It does not matter. If you lose the detail and the highlights, it's going to matter. So beautifully exposed from that perspective. The second thing that I learned as I shot more and more waterfalls was that the water, the cascading water, creates a lot of movement. Like it creates a lot of air, and it's just the water pushing the air around. So what happens is, and sometimes you can't notice it with your naked eye, you'll get your photo home and you'll look at it and you'll see things like this foliage here that's blurry. So some of it's relatively sharp, but then some of it is blurry. So what I do is I take two exposures because I want the longer exposure for the water, and I take a short exposure for the foliage, and then blend them together. And I do it at the same aperture, and I just change the shutter speed. And the way that you can do that, I do it at a different aperture. What do I change? I'm trying to think now. Or I'll change the ISO, but I'll try and keep it at the same aperture, so the depth of field is the same. And I'll change the ISO, is what I'll typically change. Because all I bring through is the foliage. Okay, I'm not going to bring through anything else. Now, sometimes, depending where the foliage is, so on this one here, because the foliage is in the background, I would have changed the aperture to speed the shutter speed up. I wouldn't have bothered me too much about depth of field, because you're going to get the depth of field in your first exposure, and anything that's at the back will be fine. So you can just focus on that, change the aperture. You just got to be mindful when you're doing that sometimes, and I've done this before where I've changed aperture and not everything was in focus. So just be really careful depending on what you're shooting. But typically I would up the ISO a bit get a faster shutter speed, and then you'll get a sharper image of the foliage, and you can blend that in layer. Now, the way in layers later, the way you do that is in Photoshop with layers. And there is a couple of free programs you can use if you don't have Photoshop to do layer masking, but you've got to do layer masking. And you mask through that area of the image that's with the sharp foliage. And that's how you do it. So it looks really good. Now, so that's for sort of from a technical aspect, the things that I would have changed. The other thing with an image like this, things like this leaf here, if I could have reached that, and I don't know if you could have or not, Greg, but if I could have reached that, I would have removed that. I would have just cleaned things up a little bit. I would have been tempted to just tie this back, this foliage. See all this foliage here? Pull it back and tie it back if I could have, right? You can't always, but in a lot of circumstances you can reach it. And quite often just bend it back. It's usually quite flexible. Stick your camera bag in front of it and stop it flipping back. Or find a stick that you can just jam into some rocks or the dirt and hold it back, pin it back whilst you take the photo. If you can't reach this stuff, then it is just about cloning it out. And I know I talk about it a fair bit, but even little things like down here, these little white bubbles are a little bit distracting. And by cleaning them up, if we jump into the develop module and we just clean them up, you'll see the difference that it can make. It just makes such a big difference to the end image. And I mean, you don't want to go too crazy, but you just want to get anything that doesn't make sense or is a bit distracting. So if I was now to go back out, zoom out, and just go to lights out, we'll just do before and after. Can you just see the difference down there? See how they're distracting little bits? And it's super simple to get rid of. Oh, that's before and that's after. Something else has changed too. I don't know what else I've hit something else. But that's something else. I must have hit something else. And then I do the same with things like this moss here, because to me this section here is such a hero of the shot. It's the foreground. I'd probably want a little bit more space around this. That would be my other thing too. So from a crop point of view, I'm going to bring that over actually and turn it into a bit of a vertical pano. Yeah, that something like this. Wow, that looks good. That is beautiful. All right. So what I would do is where these leaves are, if you cannot remove them before you take the photo, then mossy rocks are really easy to touch up because it does a pretty good job at just touching them up. So this is what I do. And you just can't help but there's always going to be some issues. Oh, that one didn't go so well. Just touching them up a bit. See a leaf up here. And once again, when you zoom out, if I do the before and after, you'll just see the difference that it makes. See, before, after. So it's only a very slight difference, but it just makes such a big difference to the final result. Like same with this one here. So just get rid of all these leaves, which is just, if it was in your front yard, you'd be hitting it with the blower vac anyway. So just consider it like that. Maybe I'll start packing a blower vac when I go out taking photos. That'd be strange, wouldn't it? I've seen people do that, but only for commercial shoots where they wanted to create a breeze for the model. And they take a blower vac. Because of course you can't hear a blower vac. Oh, I don't like that one. Didn't do that so well. So I'm doing this really roughly, but you get the idea, right? So the thing is, you'll see, once I do this, you'll see the difference it will make to the overall look of the photo. Not impressed with that at all there. I have to move that one. See, sometimes it does a horrible job of something. I don't know where it got that from. Let's just go and zoom in here. You might be going, oh, Ben, that's a bit extreme. But if I show you the before and after, let's go lights out again. Before, after. Can you see the difference? Now, for some of you, you might really like you know, the natural look of all the stuff everywhere. I find I like the real clean look. I think it looks better. So entirely up to you, but that's just what I like to do. Now this photo here is a bit flat. And that's the other thing that happens, because in a rainforest the lighting's not always what you want. It's probably a bit underexposed. I'm going to bring the exposure up a bit. In fact, the way to do this, let's adjust the whites and the blacks to get what we want. Bring the whites up a bit. Look at that. Needs a bit of contrast. Bring the contrast up. Just bring that. Texture. Texture's my new favourite slider. Just going to warm it up a tad. It's a bit cool. Let's get it right somewhere around here. Well, let's try the eyedropper and see if we can find something. Oh, that overwarmed it. Oh, fine water always does that. Let's find something that's got a good neutral colour. That's pretty good. And then what I would do is I'm going to grab a brush and I'm going to get my clarity. And I'm going to brush over this here. I'm not liking that yet. That's okay. We'll reduce it back in a second. I'll bring the clarity back. I'm going to bring the dehaze up on those front rocks. See what it does? The dehaze just takes the weirdness out of them. Just saturate them a little bit. Contrast up. I'm going to bring the blacks down a little bit on the rocks there where I did that. Look at that. Geez, that's looking good. All right, now let's bring a filter down from the top. So that's a graduated filter. I'm just going to drop the exposure down a tad up the top, just a tad, and maybe at the bottom as well, just to even it up. It's a bit bright in the middle now, isn't it? This is the things that happen. It's all right, it's a bit of playing around sometimes. So I'm just going to drop that a tad, and I'm going to chuck a radial filter in the middle here somewhere. Let's do it here. Let's invert that and just drop it down a tad in the middle. Not sure what's happened there. Too much texture. I think it's still catching up, to be honest with you. Yeah, something's not right. I think it's still catching up, or I did something and haven't noticed what I did. What did I do? I see the clarity slider was still all the way up, was it? I want to edit my brushes. No, it's having a coronary. I did too many things at once and it's not happy. Taronga Zoo today, Matt. It's all right, we'll enjoy, buddy. It might be a bit cold. It might be a bit cold over there. Hey, Phoenix, how you going? Good morning. Hurricane Barry, eh? Crikey. A Canon M5 filter kit is a tiny 7mm. Yeah. Can imagine. Well, I've got the Lee 7.5, which is the same thing. South Louisiana. Yeah, okay. Well, stay safe. Stay safe. I don't know what happened here. My edit's gone a bit crazy. What happened? Is it going to let me edit that brush? It's not letting me do anything. That's all right. Anyway, you get the idea. It's too much clarity down here now, but it's not letting me adjust it. But that's okay. Let's have a look. Before and after. It did something. It's gone to town on something. What is it? What's it done? What happened? Does it do inside this filter maybe? Ah, yes. Let's get this one and get rid of the clarity. That's what happened. I wonder what happened. That's better. It was inside my radial filter. All right. So there's something weird. See this here? It's gone a bit weird. So I'm going to heal that up as well. Let's just see what happens. That's better. So let's go lights out. Before, after. Before, after. Look at that. So sometimes just playing around a little bit and you end up with something that's just... It's a gorgeous little location. Nice little cascade. Well spotted. I like it. The whole city is a zoo, says Paul. Yes. Yes, it is. It is. The whole city is a zoo. All right. Well, good job on sending that one in, Greg. Really appreciate it. Let's have a look at the next one. But yeah, it'd probably be cold at the zoo, so make sure you rug up. I don't know what the winds are doing in Sydney. What are the winds doing in Sydney? Let's have a look. Is it windy right now? Windy and cold. What's the temp right now? It's warmed up here to 11. Going to get a top of 16. That's where I am. And let's have a look. So you can have a look at the winds. Let's have a look. Let's go to the Sydney. Sydney weather. What's going on with the weather today? There you go. It's not going to be too bad today. So Sydney's going to get to 16, so not too much more. Warmth, 25 to 35 kilometres an hour, and then slowing down later on today, late afternoon. So it looks like that nasty wind has gone, which is good. All the wind's gone. So enjoy your day, Matt. Keep warm, buddy. Enjoy the zoo. Hopefully they don't keep you in there. I know if I go there, there's always a risk they're going to lock me up in one of the animal enclosures. Wind is still up there in Penrith, is it? Just looking at my window. Not too bad. Okay, let's jump into our next image, which was Rob Roy's image. I'll bring that up on screen for you. Here we go. And I just love this. I just love this image. I think this is a beautiful image. This is great. What a location. What a nice location. So let's get rid of that bottom menu. Make it bigger. There we go. What a beautiful location. And you know, sometimes it takes a good eye to spot this. But if you have a look at this water, see these, where the foam is running down the water, it makes these beautiful lines. And that wouldn't have been a lot of foam. So yeah, just always, I love looking for that type of thing. So used a wider angle lens. Let's have a look at the EXIF data and the details, and we'll have a bit of a chat about it. So Rob said, hey Ben, I've sent this image in before, and I do remember that. He said, I took your advice from last time and did this with a wide angle. Beautiful area there. Here are the details. So D850, 16 to 35mm lens at 24mm. F13, so that's perfect. 8-second exposure, ISO 64 on a tripod. Nissi circular polarizer, so that gets rid of all the glare. 3-stop ND, and then using as a remote shutter. I think 8 seconds was perfect for the water. I don't know if the foliage is moving anywhere, but you just have to be careful. If that was the case, you just take those 2 exposures like I explained before, and probably some of it is a bit had been moving slightly. Beautiful though, beautiful. I love it. I would have liked to have seen a bit wider. It's just cropped a bit tight around the top here, just a bit, but it's pretty good. I love it. It's nice. Nice composition. And if you have a look, let's just quickly put the rule of thirds over it so you can sort of see. You've got the building on this intersection, and you've got sort of this water coming down here, this intersection. And so the eye naturally gets pulled up into the image. Like it naturally works. I'm really curious to see what's up here. It looks like more cascades or something up there, is it? Waterfalls. Looks beautiful. It is really nice. Isn't it nice? And it's like some tannin in the water maybe, is it? I don't know. Beautiful spot. And I see things like this. There is no wind in Penrith. Yes, wind is still here in Penrith. Still meaning no wind. So let's have a look. So from a technical point of view, perfect ISO, everything was perfect, right? So that's good. From a processing point of view, I would like to give it a bit of treatment, and won't be any surprise when I go and I grab myself a little clarity brush and I come over to this building and I'm going to brush over it with clarity. Oh, that just looks so nice. How nice is that, eh? And we might even just give it a bit of the texture slider as well. You'll see the difference of what it does. It just sort of, the texture slider does something quite unique. The other thing I find sometimes works really good on timber is this dehaze. See how it sort of adds contrast? So I'm going to give it a bit of a dehaze. I'm going to just pull the highlights back a tad on it and bring the contrast up a little tad. There we go. I'm finding this here, the highlights over this side, a bit much. So I'm just going to dodge and burn that. So let's just bring a radial filter over here. Get rid of that clarity that was getting before. Bring the exposure down. Invert it. Not too much, but just enough to sort of just drop that exposure down just a tad in that area, and maybe the highlights as well. Yeah, that's better. Just, you know, if you find something like a bit of harsh lighting that is just giving you a little bit of a, I'm going to feather it out more, giving you a little bit of a hard time, then these radial filters are a good way to deal with it. If you just look before and after, the difference just in that little area, it's just taking the harshness out of it. I reckon we could do the same thing here on the left. So I'm just going to duplicate this one. So if you just right click on it and hit duplicate, you can then just grab it and take it over here. And this is a good way to dodge and burn stuff. Same thing, let's just before and after that. Yeah, that's nice. Before, after. Okay. Let's do the same thing now with a graduated filter from the top. Just a slight drop up the top because it is quite bright where the light's coming in the top there. And I'm going to lift the contrast a little bit overall in the entire image. And, you know, there's not a lot to do. I might just drop the exposure just a tad. I think the white balance is pretty spot on, but I'm just going to find something to... Yeah, that's warmed it up a little bit, maybe. Yeah, I think it was pretty spot on. It's just a little bit off, but that's okay. Nothing that most people would see in their monitor. Cool Pics is saying black and white. Tim's also saying, I'd love to see it in black and white. All right, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm just going to change the crops ever so slightly. And the reason for that is, there's two. Let me explain why, actually. Two things happening. One is this here, this bit of foliage here is just not in focus. And where this water's coming, this rock's coming in, I think would make a beautiful leading line. So, coming out of the corner. So I'm just going to bring it up. Just like so. Just ever so slightly. Sorry to cut your little logo off, Rob. I do love it, but it's gone. Now that I've done that, I think I could actually crop it in a bit from the right as well. Let's see what an 8x10 would look like. Let's go for this one here. Let's see if we can make that. Yeah, that's going to work beautifully. Now this will be more like a, you know, like a large medium format. Ah, no. Need a bit more. Need to come back out a bit more. Maybe there. No, I'm regretting that. I'm gonna take that back. Let's get rid of that. I'm gonna take it back a bit wider. I think it worked better about there. Bring that up. Yes, we're gonna stick with this sort of shape. All right, let's now just go lights out. Let's look at before and after. Do I use that? Okay, so this is before and this is after. So can you just see the difference in how I've treated the light? So I changed the white balance, went +8. So that warmth you're seeing is only a little change. But you can see by doing some clarity, texture and dehaze on the building and some contrast, you can see how the building sort of becomes more three-dimensional. And the image overall, you can see I haven't changed the water much, but the lighting I've changed. So the eye is more drawn up here. So Rick has said, do I use presets much, or would you mainly treat each as an individual? And that's a good question. I usually treat everything as an individual, usually. having said that, sometimes, depends what I'm doing. Sometimes I do have some presets in here. So if I go to my presets, actually my presets are not in here anymore. Isn't that interesting? Because of the updates. My presets have gone. I did have some presets, some Lightroom presets, which you sort of got when you joined the VIP group. And they've all gone. I've got to put it back in. When I did the updates, I reinstalled everything. So I've got some presets, and I mainly use them for when I am... Well, when would I use them? I use them when I'm struggling, and I just would knock through them. The other thing, I've got presets for things like adding punch. So I have a couple of things that I do to add punch to an image. So for example, I'll use a tone curve to add some punch. So, you can sort of quickly do something and it will just add a bit of punch to an image. So for example, I've exaggerated there, but if I turn that off and on now, you'll just sort of see how it's sort of hazy, and that just brings depth. Now I've overdone it deliberately just to show you. So I'll have something like that as a preset, so I can sort of see what it's doing. The other thing that I quite often use as a preset is split toning. So if you haven't used split toning, what you can do is you can use a different hue for your highlights and your shadows. So if you hold down your Alt or Option key and you move through these, you can see it's sort of showing you what's going to happen. So this is like fully saturated. So for example, if I want my highlights to be warmer or more yellow, let's go towards a more yellow, then I can do that, and then I can add more saturation or less saturation to the highlights of the yellow, but I can warm it up by doing that. And same with the shadows. So once again, hold down the Alt or Option key and pick what sort of color. So I might want cooler shadows. So let's come across to sort of blues here. And then you just bring in a little bit of that. So for example, that there, I might give that preset a name and save it. Okay, and I'll just turn that on and off so you can see what that did, that split toning. So that's off, that's on, off, and on. So sometimes split toning, and that gives it, it's almost like a film emulation. I find like an old, I don't know, Velvia or something type film. So sometimes you can create a preset and you go, oh, I like that. I'm going to save that as a preset now, but you've got to just change that one thing, because if you've changed everything else, it's going to create a preset using all of it. So sometimes I'll have things like that, and that way I can just quickly add changes. Now what you've got to keep in mind is sometimes when you create presets, if you create another preset that has different settings and you apply that preset, it can change them on you. So as I'll set my presets up so I can add several different presets. So for example, I used to have a letterbox vignette preset in my presets there. I'll have to import them, which will be easy enough to do. I'll do it after. But I use them so infrequently, I hadn't noticed I hadn't imported them. So there you go. Because I like to do it individually just like that. But a lot of people don't use things like the split toning. And you can see the difference it's made to this, especially if you were printing this on like a rag paper. That would be a really nice thing to do, that split toning. So that's certainly one of the things that you would do. And then you can do the same thing with this colors as well. So a lot of people don't use these, but they're there, right? So for example, in this image, if you found this was a bit too green, the green comes from a couple of things. There is definitely a green channel, but you'll find a lot of the green is coming in the yellow channel. So you can see that without losing the greens, I can pull the yellows back a bit. So sometimes you can create a preset for reducing a color. Because if I pull the greens back, I'm going to lose all the green color. So it loses the foliage. But the greens, the reason why the greens are overwhelming is the yellows that are in there. So you can actually pull them back. It's surprising what colors are in things sometimes. And if you want to know what colors are in things, just come into this. So I'm inside the HSL color tab. And when you come in here, if you click on color and click on all, it'll bring them all up like this. And you can see you've got a stack of colors to play with. And then just slide your sliders. So you can see that aqua, for example, is not affecting much. So it sort of gives you a feel for what things are. So then you go, okay, what's in the blue channel? Just have a look. There's not much in the blue, but you can see definitely in the water there's a lot of blue there. So if my water wasn't white enough, I could drop the saturation back a bit. Magenta's one that quite often puts a cast if you use filters, cheap filters. There's none in that one. So you can see this one's mainly going to have, these other colour, green and yellow. It probably doesn't have a lot of orange, but there is a bit of orange in the wood. So if I wanted the building to look a bit more rustic, I could bring the oranges back a bit. So then you could sort of name that timber rustic look, So there's lots of stuff that you can do if you play around in here, and then you can save them as presets. So yeah, that's my answer for that. The color. This is where Capture One does excel, and I've got Capture One on here as well, and I use that. I'm using it more and more actually. But I don't know how it would handle a live stream. But yeah, love this image. I'll quickly do a black and white because we are out of time. See you, Spanner. Thanks for joining us, buddy, and you shoot that message through. Amanda said, I love this picture. I would just love to go there. Me too. It's awesome, isn't it? So let's just quickly do a black and white preset for Tim and for, who else wanted it? Cool Pics, Lee. All right. Which one should I pick? Which one do you like? Do you want contrast, flat? Infrared. Ooh, groggy. I struggle with black and white. Split tone. Black and white landscape. Too contrasty. Split tone. I like that one, but I want to get rid of the brightnesses. So I really struggle with black and white. What do I change to make that look better? I don't know. I'm just not a black and white guy. Just not a black and white guy. Punch maybe. Punch look good. Oh, crazy. All right. Great shots. I'm going to undo all that and go back to the colour one, because what happens is, by the way, I save all of these. If I go back to the library, I'll show you. And I wish I did this last year. I didn't do this last year. But what I do now is I take these images. And thanks, guys, for sending those in. I take these images and I put them into past image critique. So we've done 33 this year so far. So these are all the images that have been sent in for critique, which is just awesome. I mean, have a look at these photos. And this is, it looks like I'd critiqued that one before. There you go. Was that? Oh no, it's just gone into that spot. I was going to say, I don't think I'd critiqued that before. Look at the images that we've got in here. How cool is this? These images that you guys send in. It's just inspiring. So inspiring. So these are all the ones from 2019 so far. How cool is that, eh? So I'm keeping them all, and at the end of the year, I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but you never know. We could use them maybe or maybe I'll go through them in a video, I think, that I'll release as one video of all the images that were critiqued this year. I think that's what I'll do. Yeah, the black and white didn't work for me either, Amanda, but it's just black and white's not my thing. You guys would know that. I never do black and white, but how good are all these photos? Anyway, great work. Great work for sending them in. And I love getting the suggestions. So, yeah, black and white, if maybe I need to do a bit of a black and white lesson. learn how to process in black and white. But it's just not my thing. Never been my thing. I think I bought one black and white film when I had the X-Pan, and I used it and went, nope, don't like it. I just love colour. I love colour. I'm an Aquarius. And Aquarians love colour. All right. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the new time. Let me know. But we'll be back in 2 weeks again with the show on the same day. Remember lots of them. Yeah, very inspiring, isn't it? Very inspiring. So we'll be back same time again in a couple of weeks, so make sure you tune in for the live show. Hopefully the new time slot works for more people to join us. It was great to have Matt's on live from Sydney as well, eh? How good was that? He always watches it later. And I know that those that are in the US, I know for Rob Roy, who's not here today. I don't think, did I see him? No, we didn't see him in here today, but he always struggles because it's Friday afternoon in the US when I normally was doing it. So this is the new time slot, Sunday mornings. After my brekkie and a coffee, we go live. So hopefully you enjoyed the show this week. And until next time, get out there and take some photos. See ya.